Imagine a face so captivating, a voice so commanding that the moment he steps onto the screen, you're instantly locked in. For millions of movie fans around the world, Terence Stamp was that actor. Whether you knew him as the chilling General Zod from the early Superman films or the heartfelt Bernadette from Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, Stamp brought a gravity and intensity that few could match. This week, the world said goodbye to the iconic British actor who passed away at the age of 87. Today, we're diving deep into the remarkable life, legacy, and unforgettable career of Terence Stamp, a man who lived boldly, acted fearlessly, and left behind a cinematic legacy spanning over 6 decades. Buckle up, this isn't just a story about an actor. It's a story about transformation, fame, heartbreak, and triumph. Let's rewind the reel and remember a legend. Born in London's East End on July 22, 1938, Terence Henry Stamp grew up in a working-class family during wartime Britain. His early years were marked by struggle and resilience. His father was a tugboat captain, often away at sea. Young Terence found solace in the world of film, developing a fascination with the silver screen that would one day pull him into its orbit. After training at the Webber Douglas Academy of Dramatic Art, Stamp began performing on stage in repertory theater, where he met a then-unknown Michael Caine. The two shared a flat while chasing their big break, a partnership that reflected the raw energy of 1960s Britain. In 1962, that breakthrough came when Stamp starred in Billy Budd, a film that earned him both an Oscar nomination and international acclaim. His haunting performance immediately marked him as one of the most promising talents of his generation. In the 1960s, British cinema was undergoing a revolution, and Terence Stamp was right in the middle of it. As part of the angry young men movement, a wave of socially conscious films focusing on working-class struggles, Stamp's striking looks and natural intensity made him a standout. His performance in The Collector, 1965, as Freddie Clegg, a deeply disturbed man who kidnaps a young woman in a twisted attempt at love, won him Best Actor at the Cannes Film Festival. It was a chilling and transformative role that pushed him into the international spotlight. Critics praised his ability to humanize even the most complex characters, portraying emotional depth without ever overplaying it. He wasn't just a matinee idol, he was a serious actor. During this time, Stamp became known not only for his acting, but also for his charm, dating style icons like Julie Christie and Jean Shrimpton, and establishing himself as a cultural icon of the swinging 60s. Stamp's journey was never a straight line. Despite his early successes, he faced several professional setbacks, including losing out on the coveted role of James Bond after Sean Connery stepped down. Still, he never lost his love for the craft. In a 2013 interview, Stamp recalled receiving advice from the legendary Laurence Olivier, who told him, "Always study your voice. Your looks may fade, but your voice will become empowered." That advice stuck. In an era where many stars faded out, Stamp doubled down on his range. But after a string of roles failed to match the impact of his earlier work, Stamp took a surprising step. He left the spotlight and spent several years in India, embracing a spiritual journey that gave him a fresh perspective on life and work. This self-imposed hiatus was unconventional, but for Stamp, it was essential. He returned with a renewed sense of purpose, and Stamp's big comeback came in 1978 with Superman, where he took on the role that would define him for an entire generation, General Zod. With his commanding voice, icy stare, and unforgettable line, "Kneel before Zod," Stamp created one of the most iconic villains in superhero movie history. He returned as Zod in 1980's Superman 2, and audiences were mesmerized. What made his portrayal so special wasn't just the menace, it was the elegance, the intelligence, and even a sliver of vulnerability. He made Zod more than a comic book villain. He made him human. This performance would go on to inspire countless portrayals of cinematic antagonists, setting a new standard for how villains could be written and performed. In a world of capes and superpowers, Stamp stood out simply by being still and terrifying. His work in Superman proved that he was far from finished. In fact, he was just getting started. As the 90s approached, many of Stamp's contemporaries had faded from the public eye. But not Terence. He reinvented himself once again in 1994 with The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, where he played Bernadette, a transgender woman on a road trip across Australia. It was a daring role that few actors of his generation would have taken, but Stamp dove in with grace, compassion, and subtlety. The performance earned him a second BAFTA nomination and won over audiences and critics alike. It wasn't just brave, it was moving. He portrayed Bernadette with dignity, complexity, and a quiet strength, bringing attention to a character type rarely seen on screen at the time. This role marked another turning point in his career, proving that he wasn't just a great actor from the past, but a relevant and vital voice in the present. As the digital age of entertainment took off, Stamp found new ways to captivate audiences, not just with his face, but with his voice. In 1999, he played Chancellor Valorum in Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, adding yet another legendary franchise to his resume. But it didn't stop there. Stamp also lent his voice to blockbuster video games, including Halo 3 and The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion, where his deep, resonant delivery became instantly recognizable. For a whole new generation of fans, Stamp wasn't just a film icon, he was the voice of authority, of mystery, of power. His vocal performances carried the same precision and intensity as his on-screen roles, proving once again the wisdom of Olivier's advice. Whether you saw him or just heard him, Terence Stamp had the rare ability to hold your attention completely. He didn't need explosions or effects, just presence. Even in his later years, Stamp continued to work with some of the most respected filmmakers of the era. In 1999, he delivered a standout performance in The Limey, directed by Steven Soderbergh. Playing an aging British criminal searching for his daughter's killer, Stamp delivered a gritty, emotionally raw performance that earned widespread praise. The role allowed him to explore themes of regret, loss, and vengeance, all with his signature restraint. Director Edgar Wright, who cast Stamp in his final feature film role in 2021's Last Night in Soho, described him as kind, funny, and endlessly fascinating. Wright praised Stamp's magnetic presence on camera, noting that the closer the camera moved, the more hypnotic his presence became. These collaborations showcased a performer who was not only open to evolution, but also deeply respected by the next generation of creators who had grown up admiring his work. Beyond the cameras and red carpets, Terence Stamp lived a life rich in personal exploration. He was married once, to Elizabeth O'Rourke, though the couple divorced after 6 years and had no children. Stamp often spoke candidly about his relationships and personal growth, especially during his years away from acting. His time in India exposed him to meditation and holistic living, which he credited for helping him stay grounded in a turbulent industry. In interviews, he often reflected on the importance of inner peace and self-respect, ideas that clearly influenced the roles he chose and how he approached them. Unlike many stars, Stamp was never desperate for fame or accolades. He valued integrity in his work, once saying, "I don't do crappy movies unless I haven't got the rent." It was a dry, self-aware line that perfectly summed up his charm and honesty. Terence Stamp wasn't just a great actor, he was a true artist. Over the course of more than 60 years, he played everything from tortured romantics to space villains, from cult figures to comedic side characters. And each time, he brought something deeply human to the role. His characters often lingered in your memory, not because of what they said, but how they said it, with gravity, conviction, and that unmistakable voice. He inspired countless actors and helped reshape the expectations of what a leading man could be. From art house films to blockbuster franchises, Stamp's versatility set him apart. He didn't chase trends, he trusted his instincts. And as a result, he left behind a body of work that's both timeless and fearless. His legacy isn't just what he did, it's how he made people feel. Following the announcement of his passing, tributes poured in from across the entertainment world. The British Academy of Film and Television Arts honored him for his enduring contributions to cinema. Co-stars, directors, and fans alike shared stories of working with a man who was as gracious off-screen as he was commanding on it. Actor Bill Duke, who starred alongside Stamp in The Limey, remembered him as someone who brought a rare intensity to the screen, but who also carried himself with warmth, grace, and generosity. Edgar Wright's heartfelt tribute describes Stamp as a true movie star, emphasizing that the camera loved him and he loved it right back. These reflections paint the picture of an artist deeply respected by his peers, not just for his talent, but for his humility and dedication. Even into his 80s, Stamp remained active and selective with his projects. His final film role in Last Night in Soho served as a fitting capstone to a legendary career, introducing him to a younger audience while reminding longtime fans of his captivating presence. Though his pace slowed, his passion for storytelling never did. He was frequently interviewed about his past roles and often spoke about the power of cinema to provoke thought, emotion, and connection. While he may no longer be with us physically, his influence continues. In the films he made, in the performances he inspired, and in the way he changed what it meant to be a star. As generations of fans revisit his work, they'll find that Terence Stamp's performances still feel as alive and relevant as ever. So what do we take away from the life of Terence Stamp? He was more than just a villain, more than just a heartthrob, more than just a voice. He was a master of transformation, someone who evolved with every role, every era, every moment. In a world that often rewards trends over talent, Stamp stood firm. His career was proof that integrity, passion, and authenticity still matter. As we say goodbye to one of cinema's greats, let's not just mourn the loss. Let's celebrate the journey. The characters, the lines, the presence, all of it lives on. Whether you're a longtime fan or just discovering his work, one thing is clear: the legacy of Terence Stamp is here to stay. Rest in peace, General Zod, and thank you for the movies.